Oh, okay. It just been weird. Okay.
Welcome, our fellow lovers of love, and thank you for joining us on yet another excursion through the stream of consciousness down the river of tranquility to fill the lake of life with love.
Well, hello, lovebirds. Are you ready for another episode of the Late Night Love Podcast? This week, we're talking about all things summer and vacations, whether you're single, married, or somewhere in between. We have some great tips and ideas for you to make the most of your summer break. We'll discuss how much the average person spends on vacation and how to save money without sacrificing fun. The 10 best destinations. Well, we won't get all the 10, I suspect. Some destinations for singles in 2023 and ideas for family. It's a list for some staycation ideas. Don't miss it. And what do we got today, Lobby? I did not write that intro, by the way. Just want to let everybody know. I read it, but the Bing chatbot wrote that.
It's amazing what they can do. That just blows my mind.
I didn't actually write that. Right up down until the end, it kind of got long-winded, but I should have edited it. But still, that's actually not too bad. It didn't leave me a segue to actually go into the show, but which is where the human element comes in. It's those transitions and finding those human elements, which of course we always have human elements here, especially when we first start a show, because something always goes wrong. It's just the way.
It's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is around here. So what is it? It's, as we're recording this, it's what, Easter week? Easter is tomorrow?
Easter is tomorrow, yes.
So for those of you who partake in the religious aspect of those, it's a big day. It's a big time of the year. And for those who practice it as more of a family tradition, family holiday, just a time for families to get together, it's also a wonderful time of year. So it really doesn't matter why you practice it. Spring is sprung, essentially, is what the Easter celebration is.
Yes.
Whether it's from, the rebirth of Christ or the rebirth of plants and the animals come out of hiding and, things start to happen again. And that's what after winter. And it's been a long winter, In California, we usually have mild winters. We had a lot of winter this year. So
yeah, we did. We had a lot of rain this year.
Well, that's the way it goes here, right? It's either feast or famine. We don't have normal winters. Normal winters is either it's drought or it's flooding. We don't get.
That's what we get.
We don't get the middle part. We don't get an average winter. That doesn't happen. Never has. I've been here 50 years. It's never happened. Born and raised. All right. So let's go right into this thing. Vacations are a American tradition in many ways, but they are also necessary. Take a break, unplug, reset your life, reset your mindset. It can become a drag. Life can become a drag. So why did I do that?
Well, apparently Americans agree with you because they spend an average of $1,978 on summer vacation.
That's a lot of change. Right? That's a lot of saving. That's a lot of saving quarters and whatnot. But it is. Americans, we love spending money. And some of this differences between the places that spending average on vacations per year has more to do with how expensive these places actually are.
Yeah, on the East and West Coast, you end up spending more. Midwesterners don't spend as much on their vacations.
Well, yeah, the economies of scale are vastly different, even though that West extends awfully far west. But anyway, it's an interesting perspective on, but you don't have to spend $2,000 on a vacation.
No, you don't. We have some staycation ideas for you at the end of this before our question.
Yeah. So in this one, we've got 4 ways to save.
Well, no, wait a minute. 48% of people won't take a summer vacation. And most report it's due to not being able to afford it.
Well, it's not just it's affording the time off. And, remember, most of the working class is young and poor. Vacations are for 30, 40, and 50-year-olds, not 20-year-olds. This is the way the world works. If you're a 20-year-old, 25-year-old person, you don't take much vacation time. But you're 40, you do.
Well, you have the disposable income at that point.
You also have the disposable income and the knowledge to know that it's important to unplug every now and again. If you're a young type A, you don't really have that experience yet to know I should be more careful with my time and my health. At 40 years old, you're starting to think about your health more than you are at 25. At 25, you can go out, go to work, then go out and drinking and puking on your shoes, and then get up 3 hours later and stumble back into work, and then do it again. You can't do that at 40. It's not possible. You might be able to do it for the day, but you're sleeping in the next day and calling out sick is what's happening. And so, that has some to do with it, right? The ability,
Yes.
as you get older, you have more disposable income, but you also are wiser with your time and your money and all of that. So it's all connected.
4 tips. Well, one way to save money is to make a budget and stick to it.
But budgets are so boring.
Sorry.
Fine.
And number 2, book your trip well in advance. Now is not too soon.
I don't know what I want to do tomorrow, let alone 6 months from now, 3 months from now. But I get it.
Okay, you can start a savings account or a vacation fund.
Yeah, vacation fund, that's actually a good idea. Just put your quarters in, skip on everybody laughs at the idea of skipping on your Starbucks order, but that's how you start a vacation fund. $5 a day, adds up relatively quickly.
It does.
And, as you build momentum, you actually start adding more than $5 a day. But it's the habit that is important to build. And let me be the first to tell everybody, I suck at that. I don't do that. It's a good idea. It's a great idea. People should do it. I just have never been able to be that disciplined. So there's that. Okay, the last one is
book your flights strategically. For those of you that are going to be flying, remember to book well ahead of time and look at the flight times and airports you'll be traveling through. Major airports tend to offer better deals.
Yeah, and sometimes you can get really cheap flights to kind of really strange places, but you might have to spend 23 hours in someplace like Vegas as a layover. But if you're okay with that, you can go ahead and do it. You get to spend half a day in Vegas. It's a long travel itinerary, but don't be afraid to take those kinds of alternatives.
Yes,
that's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else we want to move to? So we've talked about how much people spend on money and how to shave some costs off. Remember, those are averages. So there's people who spend a lot more than that, and then there's people who go on vacation and spend $400 or $500 on a camping trip, right?
Yeah.
There's the difference between these. That's why you get those vast differences. And you average all that, and you get the average. So you find out what you want to do. A small camping trip planned in advance costs a lot less than flying to Disneyland for a weekend. So, balance your abilities with your abilities, your needs, your wants with your abilities. And you will be happier rather than always planning. I never get to go on vacation. Well, it's because you want something that's too big. Shorten it and enjoy what you got. Shorten it, make it smaller and enjoy what you got. I think that's one of the things we can pass on. All right. So what do you want? You want to talk about vacations for singles?
Yeah, we got vacations for singles. First up is Miami in Florida. Great weather and fantastic nightlife, great beaches. It's got scuba diving, fishing, boating, snorkeling, the whole 9 yards.
But why would you want? I don't know. If you're young, I suppose maybe. All right. Santorini in Greece. That makes actually more sense.
Apparently, they have a dormant volcano.
Yeah, that's what it used to be. A whole island, and now it's not.
Okay, Buenos Aires in Argentina.
Okay, I hear it's lovely.
It's the Paris of South America, is what it's known as.
I've heard it's lovely. I don't know anything about it, but I hear it's lovely. Other than that, I mean, I've heard it's lovely. That's what I know about it. So, well, I can't pronounce that. Boracay?
Boracay in the Philippines.
Oh, my daughter-in-law is going to hate me for not being able to pronounce that word. My apologies.
Apparently, the people are nice, the weather is great, and the beaches are fantastic.
So if you're a beach person,
this is the place
there
to
you go. That's a place to. If you're a beach person and you want to go to the South Pacific or someplace, there you go. Vegas. Yeah, okay. You can do anything in Vegas, especially, and it's not just gambling. There's all kinds of stuff you can do without having to go spend your money on paying for those lights. You can pay for those lights in other ways. You just pay for everything in Vegas. The house always wins. That's
shows, food, dancing.
Yeah. I'm just saying, when you go to Vegas, just remember the house always wins.
It's nightlife. Yeah.
The house always wins. As long as you go into the set, have your budget, and go knock yourselves out and have a fine time. Just don't never, ever go over your budget. Ever, for any circumstances.
You got 300 to lose on betting, and that's the limit.
Yeah, if you saved up 1,000, go ahead and knock out with 1,000, whatever it is your budget happens to be. If it's $20, which is my personal budget, it's whatever it is, just stick to it, because okay, so if your budget's $20, you can probably go to 30 without hurting yourself too much, but still stick to your budget, because that 30 becomes 40, the 40 becomes 100.
Okay, I think we need to move on to the family ones.
Okay, because you're starting to get weird. Thailand. As a single man, maybe. I don't know if I'd be a woman to go to Thailand. Single woman traveler. But maybe that's just me. Okay, of course, I wouldn't go to Austin, Texas as a single woman traveler either, so there's that. All right, so...
Okay, so we got some great summer vacation ideas for families for this year. Hershey, Pennsylvania apparently is the big one.
I was at Hershey's, Pennsylvania as a kid. We went there. We drove across. I think we stopped when we drove across the country in the motorhome. I think that was the trip. There was a couple of times we went back east. I don't remember much about it, but I remember I went there. I wasn't overly impressed, but it was kind of cool being at Hershey, Pennsylvania. Okay.
San Diego, California is another great family destination.
Yeah, because the weather's always nice. It's like going to Hawaii, but except there's more, actual entertainment options.
You got SeaWorld there. You got San Diego Zoo. Beaches.
There's amusement parks within reach. There's all kinds of stuff.
Okay, number 3 is Branson, Missouri. Apparently, they have a very welcoming atmosphere, popular theme points, and family friendly live shows, unlike Vegas.
Yeah, it's the theme parks. It's just a family. They've deliberately designed a family-friendly, multi-generational environment. And I think that's kind of their niche.
Okay, Miramar Beach, Florida. Oh, look at there's a picture. White sands.
There's another beach place. So
If your family likes the beach, there you go.
yeah.
Dollywood. There's another. She has a theme park.
Yeah. Okay.
She has a resort and spa. 4 stars.
I've never personally been interested in Dollywood, but I get it. Okay. I can get
Apparently, it's very kid friendly.
Yeah, no, I have no doubt. There's probably lots of educational opportunities for kids as well. I have no doubt that it's that she's very concerned and it's clean and orderly and it'd probably be a wonderful thing. I just never thought of personally of going to Dollywood.
Going to Dollywood.
That's-
Yeah.
That's all. I'm not dissing. I'm just saying it was never a personal consideration. It's probably wrong for me to think that if I'm ever in. Where the hell is it? Where is Dollywood?
Pigeon Fork, Tennessee. We'll have to go and ride the roller coaster.
If I'm ever in Tennessee, I'll have my friends take me over to Dollywood. Cool. It's like I've known its existence. I just never contemplated it as an actual spot to go.
Well, Tennessee is a bit of a drive, babe.
This is true. I'd have to fly. But I have friends in Tennessee now, so that I actually have reasons to go. So, all right.
Park City, Utah.
Yeah, more family-friendly activities. So that's...
If you're outdoorsy, this is for you.
Yeah, and Utah's a beautiful place. And then you're kind of starting to get to let's go run through the last couple real quick. Universal Studios, they're kind of, the Walt Disney World. What's the next one? Back to Vegas. Some of these are repetitive. Now, Yellowstone's is a trip everybody should try to make once.
To see the see the geysers.
Yeah, it's not even necessarily to see the geysers, even though, of course, if you're going to go, you might as well do that. But it's to see, you actually can kind of see how small we are as human beings on the world. It's just how big and unstoppable the world actually is. Mother Nature actually is. And then we were just kind of here by her blessing. Okay.
Okay. Now, I also included, I don't know if we're going to get to all of them, so you might want to check out our website, latenightLove.us. We have the ultimate guide of staycation ideas.
Look at me.
Because as we already stated, 48% of people are not going to be taking vacations this year, but you need a break.
Need a break? Yeah, so you need to unplug, and some people can't unplug at home. So if you have to just completely unplug, right? Because it's hard to unplug at home sometimes. It's hard to break out of, kind of go mop the floors. Even on your day off, you do something around the house. And so if you need to, go unplug. It's not a bad thing to unplug completely.
And one of the first things you can do is stay the night in a local hotel.
I'd say you have to stay at least 2 days. Because just staying a night in a local hotel, you check in as early as you can, but you still got to get out of there by 10. You're not actually enjoying the hotel experience at a 5-star. You have to have 2 nights at least, so you can stay the whole thing and get a whole experience.
That's a good idea.
Maybe even a 3-day one. Save up your pennies. That would be my thing.
There's some wonderful Airbnbs.
Yeah, no. Go to the hotel. Just get the whole people waiting on you. Save up your things and get the whole kit and caboodle.
Airbnb, they wait on you too.
No, they don't.
Yeah,
Wait a
they
minute.
do. They have great food. If you're into food, you can find some Airbnbs who have some really wonderful menus.
What the hell are you talking about? Airbnbs, you go rent a house and people they charge you to clean up and
No. That's not what I'm talking about.
Then you're not talking about Airbnb.
Oh.
You're talking about something else. Airbnb is where you go, like the house across the street. That's an Airbnb house. They ain't getting no catered food or nothing over there.
Well, it's a house that people live in.
A bed and breakfast.
And like a bed and breakfast. Yeah.
That's what you're thinking is a bed and breakfast.
Oh, okay.
Not an Airbnb. Airbnb is like the house across the street where people come and they stay for a little while they're working at the hospital. And it's just an empty house. Well, furnished house, essentially. Short-term furnished house rental. That's what Airbnb does. Sometimes for vacations, sometimes for temporary workers. But you're thinking of the bed and breakfast where you go and they have people take care of you, or like a spa or the whole kit and caboodle.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. Yeah, no, that's a good idea too. Especially if you're women. Men aren't more into that kind of thing. But if it makes your wife happy, man, shut up and go and do it. It'll have some fun with it. It'll be all right.
Okay, the next suggestion is take an art class. You can find some online too.
Well, also there's community centers and stuff that actually have very inexpensive classes and things like that. I'm not sure what that's got to do with the staycation, but
so you can check it out on your vacation.
Okay.
On your staycation. Okay, have your own film festival at home. I vote for a running of the Lord of the Rings.
You forgot the kayaking or canoeing.
Oh, kayaking or canoeing.
Hiking, whatever, fishing, volunteer in your community. Spend some time breaking your routine. Unplugging from work, unplugging from your stresses, and do things that make you feel good. Whether it's heading to the park and going for a walk, or what's the next one? See a local performance. Go to the local community theater, B Street Theater. Give them some support.
Yeah. Go on a beer crawl. If you're not into beer, they have food crawls.
That kind of thing, yeah. Picnic if you're into those kind of things. Farmers markets if you're into that. But anyway, spend some time breaking out of your routine, doing something different. And these are things that we give these type of advice all the time, and we suck at taking them.
Have a household cookie swap. Break out your craft box or go to the local craft store and pick up a craft to do.
Yeah, so just fill your time. Other than...
How about taking the time to read that book you've always meant to read?
Uh-huh. Now, there's one thing on this list I disagree with.
What?
On number 17, it says, get your DIY on and refresh the space in your home. No. The idea is to unplug completely from that kind of stuff.
Well, some people think it's fun.
If you thought it was fun, it'd be done by now. I'm just saying. Don't do it. Unplug from that kind of stuff. That'd be my suggestion. That's what happens too far often, and then you're not actually unplugging from your life. You're just superficially modifying part of it. So go off and do something else. Go to a sporting event you wouldn't normally go to.
There you go. Go see a cricket match.
Yeah, go to a water park or something. Then go take your grandchildren to a water park. That's actually a good idea.
Go to a tasting in your own home.
Yeah, there's all kinds of festivals and events happening if not in your town, in towns and cities around.
During the summertime, yeah.
And spring too, right? The spring is when stuff starts. Stuff is starting right now. So now's a great time to start thinking about these things and planning your events and saving your pennies and stuff, shaving off. I could look at stop buying so many candy bars and sodas at the vending machine. You know, stop that. Put that stuff. See, no, I'm not. I want to go buy a soda. No, I'm going to put those $2.25 or whatever it is in a piggy bank, and at the end of the month, I'll have $100 or whatever it is to put towards taking the grandchildren to the water slide or something, right?
Yes.
You'd be surprised how far those kind of little things go.
Okay, never forget summer's made for swimming.
Yeah. Mini golf is always good for a family event because it's just kind of fun. You don't have to take it seriously. It doesn't matter. Well, except for you. Do you take mini golf seriously? You take everything else seriously.
I play to win.
Oh my God, it's mini golf, for the love of God.
It's golf. It's competitive.
It's mini golf. It says it right in the title.
There's points.
You see what I have to live with, people? You're hearing with this. I just want to point that out. You're the world's worst winner. All right. So do we have anything else?
You just don't like the dance. Yes. I like the visit a local farm and pick fruit or flowers. I think that's a very summer thing to do.
Yeah. So what other things? If we had, okay, we can put all this stuff away for a minute. We got a couple minutes before we move on to our next topic. If we had, I don't know, $400 or $500 for a vacation this summer, what would we do?
I would want to go camping because we'd both enjoy it. But if I had $500 and what I would want us to do would go to a spa and we get the couple's full body massage and the mud pack and the honey facial and the scientific hair brushing, maybe a little highlights
Can
done.
I say like you and your sister instead? Do I have to go
Mani
to this
pedi.
thing?
You'd love it.
Oh, you'd love how
You'll love
you just
it.
know how much I love people I don't know rubbing all over me. You just love how much I like that.
No, when you're all done.
What do you mean when I'm all done?
When you're done, when you're all polished and buffed, you just feel like $1 million.
No, I'm gonna feel creepy is what's gonna happen with people. Yeah, I get all the wiggies thinking about it. I got the willies thinking about it. You're driving me crazy over here. I can pay you one of your daughters or your sister or something to go. Maybe that might be better. Do I have to go?
But that's not something we can do together.
What's that?
Hey, $500. By the time we sign up for a class we're both interested in at college and buy the textbooks and all the supplies and everything else, that would be $500.
Who the hell's would be stupid enough to send me to college again?
No, to go do something we like a glass blowing class or history, some kind of history.
I just argue with the professors. I think we're setting me up for failure on those ones. These professors don't know history. You just want me to argue with professors, don't you? That's what it is.
I'd find it entertaining.
I could go take photo appreciation again.
Okay.
I slept through it the first time, so it would be a whole new experience. Yeah, I didn't go to that class. It was boring. It's what does they call it? Aphasia is where you don't see pictures in your head, and so it's hard for me to appreciate things you can't recall in your head. So, anyway, yes, we'll talk about that. We'll figure something out. But for now, we're going to move on and talk about relationships. I think you've got listed first here.
I have relationship questions. Yes. Okay. First, we're going to start out with how do I, 38 male, reassure my wife, 34 female, I'm not having an affair with my assistant, 24 female at work. Apparently, whenever he talks about the assistant, the wife rolls her eyes and makes a snarky comment.
Well, then don't talk about the assistant to your wife is your first clue. Just don't. I mean, it's kind of awkward because you do want to talk about your work life and stuff, but she clearly doesn't want to hear it, so don't talk about it. That's the first start, but you can't reassure her. She's feeling insecure. She's what? Pushing 40? It's a rough time of her life at the moment, and you're spending 8 hours a day with this young 24-year-old thing, and she's feeling naturally insecure. So do things that make her feel more secure, like you did back in the days when you were courting her. Bring her flowers. Just give her some extra attention. That's all you can really do. Don't go overboard with it, because then she's going to think you're covering stuff up, and it creates but just, small things. Just give her a little bit of extra attention, and things will work themselves out. That would be my guess.
Yeah, stop talking about her.
Yeah, that's just and she'll adapt. But on the other side is you want to start giving her more care and attention that she needs. She needs more love and attention right now, so give it to her. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
A friend of a friend made it clear he wants to pursue my girlfriend, 30, 50. But I, 34 male, wasn't made aware of it. He approached us at a wedding and wants to continue hanging out with us. How do I let him know I'm not comfortable with it? Okay, this guy saw this woman. Okay, she's 30. It was love at first sight. He was struck by lightning. And he was introduced by a friend of theirs. So she goes to this party. This guy who wants her is there. The boyfriend who's writing in had no idea about any of this. And the guy came up and they're all friendly and he wants, hey, let's hang out. Then he finds out he wants her. He's there to pursue her and take her. And how does he back out of all of this is what he wants to know.
Well, one, you have to deal with, first, you get to decide who you hang out and spend time with. So you just tell people no. You don't even have to give an explanation. Really don't give it more power than it has. But two, it's the conversation with your girlfriend. That's the actual relationship you have to worry about. It's not him, it's her and you. Is there fertile ground in the relationship or not? Is your relationship solid or not? If the relationship is solid, then his intentions are meaningless. Doesn't mean you want to spend time around him. It's just his intentions are meaningless. So don't focus outward, focus inward.
That's good advice.
But you do get to say no. You don't have to go hang out with anybody. And it's perfectly acceptable for you to say, no, we're busy. Thank you. And just go on about your life. Okay. Now, if you're in the same friend circle and you go out a lot, my question is why you're all going out that much when you're 30s, but that's a whole nother question. Okay.
Okay.
That's another issue.
Okay, my 22 female boyfriend, 23 male, boxed up my video games to give away to his work charity drive. How do I get my video games back? He had been bugging her that she played video games too much.
Well, that's a reversal of the normal course of action, isn't it?
Yes.
But the issue is fundamentally the same. That's not the choice you get to make. And what you could actually do is you could call the charity and say some of this stuff were given up on accident. And, and see if you can get them back that way. But the bigger issue isn't actually your video games. The bigger issue is that you have a relationship where you guys aren't respecting each other. You're not on the same level of a relationship. That's the bigger issue. Is who wants to be in a relationship where someone's going to pack up your video games because they think it's a good idea? That trick doesn't work with alcohol. You think it's going to work with video games? It's a toxic trait.
I should pack up your weed.
I should pack up your weed.
No way, man.
All right.
Okay.
So my question is that's not a stable relationship. So you've got bigger issues than the video games, right? I get that you're attached to the video games. It's reasonable. That's part of who you are at this stage. So, but the bigger issue for me is that's not a healthy relationship. So, okay.
Okay. 21 female, 22 male. My boyfriend broke up with me because my Latino family is quote unquote crazy. I don't think so. How can I tell?
Well, it's not crazy is based upon your perspective on these kind of things. Crazy, right? Well, let's just say your Latino family is colorful. We'll move from the word crazy. We'll switch to colorful. Okay.
They have a lot of personality.
Yeah, there's a lot of personality involved, right? We're assuming they're not, crime lords or something. They're just a personality, right?
Yes.
And you have someone who is from a different culture that we'll shall we call is more reserved. Yeah, you're going to have a culture clash. And sometimes those culture clashes can be worked through and sometimes they can't. Now, sometimes we don't find out our family is crazy or toxic until we go out into the rest of the world. And so it's entirely possible that your family is a little toxic. It is, not healthy to be around. And it's hard to know that when that's all you've known. And so what's the truth? The truth is probably the first one, but that second one isn't out of the realm of possibility. It happens all the time. So
maybe a little bit of both.
It's entirely possible, but what's toxic to one person is healthy to another, culture and families and whatnot. So my suspicion is it's just a culture clash and he can't work through it, and that's okay. You're 21, 22. There's no reason to have locked yourself into a relationship. That's just one of those things that happen in relationships. It's okay. It's a perfectly normal part of life. You move on. It sucks, and you're going to cry, and you're going to eat your ice cream, and in a couple of weeks, you're going to get to go through the stages of grief, and all that's true, and all that's real and relevant, but it's okay. You're 22, 21. You have a whole life ahead of you. Just one of those things. Okay.
We have parenting.
Woohoo, parenting, yay.
How to get a 4-year-old to understand it doesn't have to be dark outside to go to sleep.
He's never going to understand it. It's light outside. Why should I go to sleep? Of course, he's 4, so it doesn't matter if it's dark outside. He's still not going to want to go to sleep. He's just using the light as an excuse. So, and 4 is a difficult age because they're shifting from being, really needy and really needing your attention and kind of shifting to some level of more independence. And it's difficult to know when their bedtime should be at 4. So the only thing I would tell parents at that age is make sure the bedtime is for them, not for you. I mean, if you're sending them to bed because everybody has to go to bed and get up in the mornings and everything works, it's one thing. If you're sending them to bed because you just want to have a couple extra hours of peace before you go to bed, you may have to push his bedtime back a little bit because that's what parents do. But the bedtime is an ever-evolving thing. So it's just one of those. It never ends. At 14, you're going to have the
same issue.
The same issues. So yeah, just learn to accept that bedtime is an ever evolving thing. And at 4, I can understand it. He's just going to have to accept it or not. Yeah. Don't try to reason with him because the reason is I said so. Sometimes that is the reason. Children have to know that on occasion, as long as you don't do it so often, you don't have to understand why I'm telling you to do things. You just have to do it. It just works out that way sometimes. Okay.
Would you let a 6-year-old choose their own room decor? Yes, I would, within reason.
The second you put a qualifier, they aren't choosing their own decor. No, the answer is no. You can give them the illusion of choice. You can work really hard to give them the illusion of choice, and I am all for it. But the answer is no way in hell do you give a 6-year-old the ability to decorate their own room. You may let their creativity and incorporate it into the thing, and great, I'm all for that, right? But they don't have they're 6.
Why can't they pick the color of the paint of their room?
Because what if they choose black?
Why can't they have it black?
Because you know how hard it is to unpaint a black room?
Yeah.
Maybe you have it in an apartment. Because everything that has to be done has to be undone. And at 6, they're going to undo it in 6 months. So, so there's reasons, if not 6 months, a year, they're going to do it in something, and they're going to want to move on to something else in a year or whatever. So you put limitations. You give them an illusion of choice, you give them input, and you incorporate that rationally into the thing. But no, they don't have to. They're 6. Why would you be? That's a silly question. As a parent, you let them help their creativity, but you guide it. You don't hand them the keys of a Ferrari. That's why you buy them the little toy cars that can only go 2 miles an hour, and that at worst they hurt your ankles when they run into you. There's a reason for these things. Okay.
Daughter 7, obsessed with her appearance. I was expecting this as a teenager. Isn't she too young for this?
No.
Not really. 7?
No, she'll ebb and flow. It's just she's obsessed with this for now. So it'll ebb and flow. She'll get tired of it and go on to something else. And then she'll come back to it. But yes, it is probably a sign that you are going to have issues to deal with, appearance issues to deal with. She's older, would be my guess. There's probably a trait under there that's revealing itself, and it will come up and up more often as she approaches those teenager. And it may benefit her, right? Maybe she's the next fashion designer. Who knows? So don't squash it, but don't worry about it either. Okay, but do watch, because sometimes it can become twisted, right? End up with eating disorders and that kind of thing. So watch it, but no, she's not too young, and it's perfectly normal. Okay.
I just organized my daughter's first play date. How do I make it a success? Well, toddler play dates are pretty easy. You have some toys, you have a snack, you read a book, you play music, watch a short video, and there you go.
I had boys who just had their friends come over and they went off and did things. Didn't have to organize jack with boys. And by the time my daughter was around, she already knew how to just go off and do things by the time. So it was never an issue. I didn't have to worry about it. Of course, we never organized play dates. Then I remember. Of course, their mother may have organized play dates that I wasn't aware of. I was working a lot during those days.
I had when my oldest two girls, I did Girl Scouts with them. I even did kindergarten brownies or daisies, and that's preschool. You can get into daisies, and but younger, I did with my youngest daughter through our church that we were attending at the time. There was another mother there who was looking for someone to go to the park with on a weekly basis, so we did that for a whole summer. It was nice.
Yeah, so there's mostly just be yourselves, be prepared to occupy the time of the children in some form if they need it. But they're children, they really don't need a lot to.
No, they don't. Have a couple games in your back pocket for an emergency.
Yeah. If they get tired and start to fight, then it's time to think. So these things but they also generally work themselves out too. They're children; they get over these things really quickly. Parents worry more about it than children do. Yeah. All right.
Okay, we have some work questions. Workers, did you ever get pranked by your coworkers when you were new?
Well, yes. New workers get cranked. They get sent for the hose stretcher and things like that, or the ignition keys to the cameras.
In the Army, I was sent to look for a gallon of prop wash. And I went up and down the flight line into each department, and everyone would look at me gravely. No, I'm sorry, we're all out of prop wash. Until I did this for a couple hours, until finally someone took some pity on me and said, "Hun, prop wash is the air that comes off the propeller of a helicopter."
But yeah, see, this is what happens. And there's no such thing as a hose stretcher. What are you talking about? It sounds reasonable enough, especially if you're new, right? But yeah,
I took it with the intent of they were welcoming me to the club.
Yeah, it's a strange rite of passage because all of them kind of go through it. And if that's kind of thing, it's kind of fine. You go, screw you guys, and you have some fun with it, and you laugh, and you move on, right? That's kind of how most people deal with it. And it's also a test to see how you deal with those kind of things. What are you going to be like under stress? People want to know, are they going to be able to rely on you? How are you going to deal with it? How are you going to cope? So it actually does have a quasi-use, but it often goes too far in places like colleges and stuff where people are too young to understand. So that's where you get hazing. That's the difference between, pranked and hazing can be a fine line. All right.
Okay. How do you refuse a promotion?
By saying no. The power of no. It's actually quite easy. You don't have to offer an explanation. Say no. They ask you why, because I don't want to. I like where I'm at. I don't want the stress. You can add whatever, I suppose, what you want, but you're best off just saying no. It's not what I'm looking for right now. Yeah, not all promotions are worthy. Sometimes I've got a foot out the door already. Why would I want a promotion? And you don't want to tell them that, so you just say no. I'm content. So it's actually, the power of no is very easy. Just say no.
Okay.
You don't have to. There's nothing complicated about it.
Okay. New coworker acts like my mother. How do I get her to stop?
Well, you're asking someone to change their personality on the stop of a dime? It's not going to happen. But you can manage the relationship over time where
it's going to take some time.
Yeah. And there's no way to do it, oddly enough, because there's not enough information to tell me what kind of personality she has, so you can to counter it. But the generic way to deal with it is to just, set boundaries. Tell her no. Thank you, but I don't need this. She gives you something. Thank you, but no. I appreciate the intent, but no. Over time, she'll get it. She'll move on to somebody else. Yeah, I appreciate the advice, but I don't need it. Thank you. She'll eventually. And you feel kind of rude at first, but you're not being any ruder than she is. So you're just setting your boundaries of the relationship. You have every right to do it. Just be professional and polite. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who really works 9 to 5?
Bankers and bureaucrats. Other than that, nobody. But do you mean who actually works a standard 8-hour day? Lots of people. It just doesn't happen 9 to 5.
No, he meant 9 to 5.
Yeah, bankers and bureaucrats. That's it.
Because his is like from 8 to 6 or something.
Yeah, well, because that needs someone with a paid lunch because there's no lunchtime. And at the time, that meant they weren't full-time. They were part-time employees. The 9 to 5 comes from the secretaries, back the days of the secretaries. It was the people in the office, when you had secretary pools. And the people in the office would come in the first day, a bunch of stuff that the secretaries would need to do. The secretaries would come in from 9 to 5, type all that stuff up, do all the typing and stuff that they needed to do, the transcribing, all this stuff. It was different back in the day. And then they go off and it was just like the secretary work. And they weren't quite full-time employees because they didn't get 40 hours a week. They got 35. That was remember the whole Dolly Parton movie? Yes. Dolly Parton comes up twice today, 9 to 5. It's the whole secretary pool thing. That's where it's from. Because factory workers worked 8 hours a day with the lunch break. And you get paid for lunch. Union contracts. But who really works 9 to 5? Nobody. Actually, very few people technically work 9 to 5. You may get some people who are on salary that may work close to 9 to 5, but they also generally work a lot from home. So, on the phone, all that kind of stuff. All right, making sales calls at home. Okay.
Okay, we have scintillating sex questions. What is the best etiquette for telling the third in the threesome it's time to go?
What, are they like living together or something?
No, he was very warm and friendly, very personable, very charming, and he and his wife started in this lifestyle.
Uh-huh.
But he, let's say, overly taxing on the wife, and he didn't read the signs, and he wouldn't back off.
Well, you just don't invite them again. But do you have like some open invitation or something? Those things generally work by invitation.
Well, obviously they're new at this.
You just don't invite them again. That's the easy one. Or when they call up asking, you just tell them no. We're the theory of it's easy. It's okay to say no. You have a choice, just say no.
And you don't want to discuss it.
Yeah, well, you can discuss it if you want. It's probably better for you to call us to discuss it and say, we've moved on, we're no longer interested. But just say no. And just no longer invite them over. Everybody will move on. That would be my suggestion. Just up again. The basic polite no is usually the best etiquette, because otherwise you're trying to send signals. And guess what happens when you try to send signals rather than being direct? People don't understand. So be direct. Just say no. Okay.
How should a woman ask for sex from her husband?
Well, it depends on her and her husband, right? That's not a question any person can ask outside of the relationship. There's not an easy way. You know your spouse. You know the best ways to approach them, and usually
It's pretty easy.
yeah.
It's usually pretty simple. Hey, honey, I'm in the mood. Are you?
Yeah, you could get a little handsy, and
Yeah, start doing some groping. There you go.
yeah, there's 100 things. If you wanted to be subtle, you could do those kind of things, or you could be less subtle and just initiate it.
Start kissing. Take his clothes off.
Yeah, there's so I don't know. My guess is there's some other issue. They've maybe health reasons. They've had a long break, and so it becomes awkward to try to. And that's a harder
Yeah.
that's a harder thing to overcome. So if it's something like that, then a discussion I want to
A
have,
discussion first.
may
Yeah.
want to have first. Now, being a little handsy, a little flirty, probably wouldn't hurt, and see where it goes, even in that kind of situation, because he may be just as desirous, but feeling just as awkward. And so someone needs to kind of smash the ice, and someone needs to take the risk to smash the ice. And, but once they actually smash, the fires may still be burning, right? So don't be afraid to take a risk either. You're a husband and wife for a reason. Yeah.
Yeah.
Take a little bit of risk. Just try to avoid becoming overly emotional about feeling disconnected, because then it becomes something other than, right? Even though that's the reason, likely, you're starting to feel disconnected and whatnot. But, because men tend to shut down when they start to feel attacked, and they're going to feel attacked if you start the conversation like that. So just initiate it somehow, some form, flirty, whatever.
A negligee often works.
Yeah. Well, again, your spouse, so take the risk because you clearly want to. So the risk of rejection is strong. The fear of rejection is strong. It really is. Even in a husband and wife relationship.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Do y'all brush your teeth before morning sex or just go get straight to it? Well, it all depends on what I had for dinner the night before.
Well, it kind of depends. Most of the time I've had morning sex, it's unplanned. So no, there's no hygiene involved. So, but I suppose it depends how much you think you put thought into it. I suppose it also maybe depends how long you've been in your relationship. If it's a new relationship, my guess is somebody's getting up. But if you've been together 15 years, you're not going to care. Just kind of the reality. Most people aren't going to care. We'll come across it that way. All right, last one for the night.
Okay. Does it come across as fetishizing if, as a fit guy, I specifically seek out chubby women? I don't know if you call it a fetish, but it is a preference for some men to like meatier women. And why are we labeling it a fetish?
Yeah, that's because there's a difference between a fetish, which is something you need or strongly desire sexually, versus I have a preference for, I just find chubbier women more attractive to my eye, and it's just where I'm naturally drawn to. And there's a difference between those two things, and that doesn't actually tell us.
No, it doesn't really. Okay, now if you're talking about on these websites where they post pictures of him feeding her meals,
That's a whole vastly different thing. Yeah.
Weigh-ins and all kinds of stuff, then we're getting into a different area.
Yeah. So it's just if you find natural women who you find chubby, they may not actually be chubby to the rest of the world, by the way. I just want to point that out. Your version of chubby may not be the version of chubby that the rest of the people are if you're a fit person.
That's true.
Yeah, you might be thinking of someone who's insanely fit and it's a normal human being, is perfectly normal, not chubby at all, who we wouldn't consider chubby, may very well be chubby to them. But just because you're attracted to someone, you like a woman with a figure rather than a woman that's a stick. Some people like really skinny women. The world is a wonderful diversity. It's okay. It's okay. The thing is, does it prevent you from, if you have a real genuine connection from somebody who's outside that preference, are you still open to the relationship? And if the answer is yes, then you're clearly a good human being. It's just, if that's where your eyes just tend to go, and you tend to find that more visually appealing, so that way you're more likely to approach a woman who's that's a perfectly natural thing. It's okay. It's okay for you to have a natural preference or something that's naturally more attractive to you. The question is, as a full human being, is that your kind of soul judgment? Can you get past it? If someone checks all the other boxes, but they're skinny as a rail, just naturally skinny, And in fact, even if that's a deal breaker, it's there's nothing inherently wrong with it. Personally, I think it's limiting, but I don't have to live anybody else's life. So you have to live your life. And so if it's someone who's fit or a little chubby that you find attractive, if you need, a few days off to take some breaks, it's okay. It's okay to want to unplug from your family or your relationship for a couple of days and go sit on a mountain and contemplate. If that's your vacation, it's okay to say no if that's what you need. We've had this this has been a wide-ranging show, but there are a couple themes. It's take care of yourself. And, maybe you plan for it a little better. Guilty of not doing that here. I don't plan for it very well, just like the rest of you. But we can all work at getting better at that. And we can all work at getting better at saying no when it suits us, when it's for our own good. And with that, we are out of time. Thank you for joining with us. Thank you, Lovey, for putting together tonight's show. You can find us at latenightLove.us, all your favorite podcast networks. Maybe, I think. Well, by the time you hear this, I'll have fixed it, so it's okay. I'll get gotten caught up. And at Facebook is where you can mostly find us. You can send letters and questions to love@latenightLove.us. And from me and Lovey, have a great week. Please remember, to love everybody.
Good night.